Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Always exciting to jump into a new topic.
I know, right? And today we're exploring the world of biohacking.
Biohacking, huh?
Yeah. We'll be using Nick Trenton's book, Dopamine Detox, as our guide.
Sounds interesting.
Have you ever considered, consciously hacking your biology to improve your life?
Not sure I've thought about it quite like that before.
Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today,
I'm all ears.
with a focus on three key elements: dopamine, nutrition, and sleep.
Those are some pretty big ones.
For sure. And what's fascinating is how interconnected they are.
I've heard a little about that, how they all kind of influence each other.
Exactly. Trenton argues they're not separate aspects of well-being, but rather a tightly woven system.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You can't really have one without the others.
Right. So before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me ask you this.
Hit me.
If you could upgrade just one thing in your life,
Just one thing.
what would it be? Your focus, energy levels,
Mm-hmm.
happiness.
That's a tough one.
It is, right. But keep that in mind as we unpack how these elements work together.
Okay, I'm game.
Let's start with dopamine.
The brain chemical everyone's talking about.
Right. Most people associate it with pleasure and reward.
Like that feeling you get when you eat chocolate or something.
Exactly. But it's so much more than that.
Ooh.
Dopamine actually fuels our motivation,
I never thought of it that way.
our focus, even our desire for novelty.
So when I feel driven to achieve a goal,
Or excited to learn something new.
that's dopamine at work.
You got it. Dopamine is playing a big role behind the scenes.
Fascinating.
But here's where things get a bit tricky.
Uh-oh.
Too much dopamine can actually backfire.
Wait, really? Too much of a good thing.
It's like anything else, right? Trenton argues that constantly bombarding our brains with high dopamine activities
So like constantly checking social media, watching videos.
can lead to distraction, impulsivity,
Like you can't focus on anything for more than a minute.
and a decreased ability to enjoy simple things.
So like you need bigger and bigger hits of dopamine to get that same feeling.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
So how do we find that balance?
Yeah. How do we not go overboard?
That's where the dopamine detox comes in.
Dopamine detox, huh? Sounds intense.
It might sound a bit extreme, but it's not about deprivation.
Okay.
It's about consciously resetting our brains
I see.
by intentionally reducing dopamine stimulation.
So giving our brains a break from those constant dopamine hits.
Exactly. For a period of time.
Like how long are we talking?
It can vary, but the idea is to essentially recalibrate our sensitivity to dopamine
So we can enjoy things more without needing those extreme highs.
and regain control over our focus and attention.
Okay, but what does a dopamine detox actually look like?
What do you have to de-go? Great question. It's not about giving up all the things you enjoy,
Ooh.
but rather about being more intentional with them.
I can get behind that.
Trenton suggests a few practical strategies.
Lay it on me.
One is changing your environment to reduce temptation.
Okay, so like what? Rearranging the furniture?
Think more about the things that trigger those dopamine rushes,
Ah, got it.
like your phone,
My precious phone.
put it in another room.
Ooh, that's hard.
Use website blockers.
Never tried those.
You can even enlist a friend for accountability.
Ooh, so they'll keep me in check.
Exactly. Like having a workout buddy for your willpower.
I like it. What else?
Another key technique is practicing mindful consumption.
Mindful consumption.
It's about being aware of your dopamine triggers.
So like noticing what makes me reach for my phone or whatever.
And making deliberate choices about how you engage with them.
So instead of mindlessly scrolling for hours
Maybe you set a timer for 15 minutes.
and then consciously choose to do something else.
Exactly. It's about being intentional with your time and energy.
I dig it.
And finally, there's embracing boredom.
Embracing boredom, now that's a challenge.
I know, right? It might sound counterintuitive.
Our society tells us to avoid boredom at all costs.
Right. But Trenton argues that learning to tolerate moments without constant stimulation
Those moments where you just sit with your thoughts.
can actually spark creativity and deeper thinking.
So boredom as a breeding ground for new ideas.
Exactly.
That is a new way of thinking about it.
Our brains are probably so used to being bombarded with information that they've forgotten how to just be still.
I can definitely relate to that.
And remember, a dopamine detox isn't about being perfect.
Okay, good, because I'm definitely not perfect.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Progress over perfection.
Trenton emphasizes self-compassion throughout the process.
So being kind to yourself, even when you slip up.
Exactly. Lapses are normal, and there are actually opportunities to learn and adjust.
So don't beat yourself up if you reach for your phone out of habit.
It's all part of the learning curve.
This is making me think about all the ways I'm unconsciously seeking dopamine hits throughout the day.
That's the first step, right? Becoming aware of those patterns.
I'm starting to see how dopamine affects so much more than just pleasure and reward.
It really is the driving force behind so much of our behavior.
And what's really fascinating is that Trenton doesn't stop there.
He goes even deeper.
He connects dopamine to the food we eat.
Whoa, so what we consume impacts our dopamine levels.
Absolutely. He argues that what we eat has a direct impact on our brain chemistry
I'm Boeing.
and our ability to produce this crucial neurochemical.
So to really get this dopamine thing right,
We need to look at what we're putting into our bodies,
and that's where nutrition comes in.
the fuel for our brain and body.
And wouldn't you know it?
There's a whole world of knowledge about that, too.
We'll be diving into all that
Can't wait.
right after a quick break.
Sounds good. You know what's really wild?
What's that?
How the tiniest choices, the ones we make every single day,
The ones we barely even think about.
totally, those have such a huge impact on our lives.
It's easy to get caught up in thinking we need these big, massive changes to make a difference.
Like totally overhaul everything.
Right. But actually, it's the small, consistent things that add up over time.
Small steps, big results.
And you know, it's interesting. Trenton actually addresses this in his book.
Oh, yeah.
He brings in this concept from behavioral economics called nudge theory.
Nudge theory. Okay, I'm intrigued.
It's all about subtly tweaking our environment to, well, nudge ourselves towards better choices
So it's like setting yourself up for success.
without even realizing it.
I like that. Sounds a lot easier than relying on willpower alone.
It is. You give me an example?
Sure. Let's say you're trying to cut back on junk food.
Those tempting snacks.
Yeah, the simple nudge would be to just not keep them in the house.
Out of sight, out of mind,
Exactly. Or if you want to drink more water.
which we all should be doing.
Right. Keep a full glass on your desk, like a visual cue.
Those are great examples. It's about making the healthy choice.
The easy choice.
Got it. Any other nudges for better nutrition?
Well, if you're trying to eat more fruits and veggies,
Always good.
for sure, try making them super visible and appealing.
Like how?
Chop them up, store them in clear containers in your fridge.
So you see them right away.
Boom, healthy snacks front and center.
Smart. What about at the grocery store when temptation is everywhere?
Ah, yes, the danger zone.
Any nudges to resist those impulse buys?
Plan your meals ahead of time.
So you know exactly what you need.
And make a detailed shopping list.
The grocery store battle plan.
Then stick to it like your life depends on it.
No wandering down those aisles filled with sugary snacks and processed foods.
Avoid those like the plague.
Preparation is key.
Absolutely. Trenton also talks about micro resolutions.
Micro resolutions. Those sound less intimidating than regular resolutions.
Right. It's about breaking those huge goals down.
Into bite-sized pieces.
Exactly. Instead of, I'm going to eat perfectly healthy from now on.
Which is, let's face it, pretty overwhelming.
Try something like, I'm going to swap my afternoon soda for water every day this week.
Much more manageable.
Right. It's one small change, consistently.
And building momentum from there.
And don't forget to celebrate those small wins.
Those keep you motivated.
They totally do. All right, so we've got nudges, micro resolutions. What else?
What other tricks do we have to optimize our nutrition?
Oh, this is interesting.
What? Spill the beans.
Trenton points out that light and temperature can actually influence how we eat.
Light and temperature. Okay, now I'm really curious.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
How do those play a role?
Our bodies are naturally attuned to light patterns.
Circadian rhythms and all that.
Exactly. Getting daylight in the morning helps regulate that rhythm.
And kickstarts our metabolism.
Right. So open those blinds, let the sun shine in.
First thing in the morning,
It's a great way to start the day. And then on the flip side,
minimizing artificial light at night
that helps our bodies wind down,
and prepare for sleep.
which in turn can help regulate appetite hormones.
So we're less likely to raid the fridge at midnight.
Exactly. And speaking of temperature,
Yeah, how does that factor in?
well, some research suggests that eating in a cool environment
Like turning down the thermostat.
can actually boost metabolism slightly.
Interesting.
Our bodies have to work a bit harder to stay warm.
I'll take it. Before we move on, let's revisit those superfoods we talked about.
Yes, the nutritional all-stars.
Give me the rundown on some top contenders.
Okay, first up, blueberries.
Classic superfood.
Packed with antioxidants, linked to better brain function and memory.
Brain-boosting berries, I'm sold.
What else? Walnuts?
Those are good for you too.
Oh, yeah. Excellent source of omega-3 fatty acids.
Those are important for the brain too, right?
Brain health,
Yep.
reducing inflammation,
Mm.
the whole 9 yards.
All right, what else?
Okay, let's not forget kefir.
Kefir.
Yeah. It's a fermented milk drink.
Okay.
It's a probiotic powerhouse, great for gut health.
So many good choices.
Leafy greens, too. Spinach, kale, all that good stuff.
Lots of plants. I'm noticing a theme.
Nature provides us with so much goodness.
It really does. Okay, can't forget about supplements.
Ah, yes, the supplement aisle can be overwhelming.
Are they a necessary part of biohacking?
They can be helpful, especially if you have dietary deficiencies.
Or specific health goals?
Right. But remember, they're not a magic bullet.
They're meant to complement, not replace, a healthy diet.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So if someone is considering supplements,
Do your research.
what else should they keep in mind?
Choose high-quality products from reputable brands.
Okay.
And talk to your doctor, make sure it's right for you.
Makes sense.
Wow, we've covered a lot with nutrition today.
We really have. Healthy eating principles, specific diets.
Superfoods, supplements, even the gut microbiome.
It all ties back to that interconnectedness we talked about earlier.
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
Our nutrition impacts everything.
Our brain chemistry, our hormones, even our genes.
It's incredible to think about how much power we have.
Through the choices we make every day.
It's not about perfection. It's about making conscious choices that support our well-being.
Love that. And speaking of conscious choices,
Yeah.
we can't forget about sleep.
Ugh, sleep, the foundation of it all.
We touched on it earlier, but let's dive deeper into how we can biohack our sleep for optimal health.
Let's do it.
Because we all know how crucial sleep is.
But so many of us don't prioritize it.
It's true. We wear our lack of sleep like a badge of honor.
Like it means we're working hard or something.
Good. But the truth is, chronic sleep deprivation has a devastating impact.
On our physical health, mental health, everything.
I've definitely felt it myself. Brain fog, irritability, low energy.
Oh, I know those all too well.
Not a good look.
And those are just the short-term effects. Long-term, we're talking increased risk of heart disease, stroke, diabetes.
Whoa. Okay, that's scary stuff.
It is serious. So how do we get the sleep we need?
Tell me everything.
First, we need to understand our circadian rhythms.
Our body's natural sleep-wake cycles.
Right. And light exposure plays a big role in regulating that.
We talked about this a bit with nutrition.
Yeah, it all connects. Getting daylight in the morning signals to our brains that it's time to wake up.
And darkness in the evening triggers melatonin production.
The sleep hormones.
So our bodies are designed to follow those natural patterns.
Makes sense, right? But in our modern world, we're constantly disrupting those rhythms.
With artificial light, late-night screen time, irregular schedules.
No wonder so many of us struggle with sleep.
So how do we get back in sync with our circadian rhythms?
One of the most effective strategies is establishing a consistent sleep schedule.
Going to bed and waking up around the same time every day.
Even on weekends, that's the tough part.
I know, weekends are for sleeping in.
I hear you, but consistency is key for regulating that internal clock.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. What else can we do?
Create a sleep-conducive environment.
Oh yes, let's talk sleep sanctuaries. What makes a bedroom sleep-friendly?
Darkness is key.
Like really dark.
As dark as you can get it.
Yeah.
Blackout curtains, eye mask, the works.
Even the tiniest bit of light can disrupt sleep.
It can suppress melatonin production and mess with your sleep cycle.
Okay, no more nightlights for me.
Temperature is important too. Most people sleep best in a cool room.
Around 65 degrees, right?
That's the sweet spot for most people.
And good ventilation, fresh air.
Open those windows if you can.
Okay, what about noise? I'm a light sleeper. Every little creak wakes me up.
White noise machines can be helpful for some.
They drown out other sounds.
Exactly. Earplugs are another option.
So find what works for you and create a peaceful sleep haven.
Exactly. And of course, your bed itself is important.
Mattress, pillows, bedding, the whole shebang.
Your mattress should be comfortable and supportive.
No more sleeping on that lumpy old thing.
Definitely not. Choose a mattress that suits your sleep positions.
Side sleeper, back sleeper, all that.
Right. Pillows should support your neck and head properly.
No more waking up with a stiff neck.
And for bedding, go for natural, breathable fabrics.
Something that feels good against your skin.
It makes a difference. And don't underestimate the power of the overall ambiance.
The vibe of your bedroom can affect your sleep.
Absolutely. Think calming colors, soft textures, comfortable furniture.
Like a spa for sleep.
Exactly. Some people even find aromatherapy helpful.
Oh yeah, lavender's supposed to be good for sleep.
It's a classic. Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk about lifestyle changes.
Things we can do throughout the day that impact our sleep.
One of the biggest ones is what you eat and drink.
So what we consume affects our sleep. Not surprising at this point.
It all connects. Avoiding caffeine and alcohol close to bedtime is crucial.
No more late night coffee or that glass of wine with dinner.
Caffeine stays in your system for hours, can really interfere with sleep.
Okay, I'm guilty of the evening coffee.
And alcohol, while it might make you feel sleepy at first.
But actually disrupts your sleep later in the night.
Exactly. Not worth it.
What about exercise?
Exercise is great for sleep, but timing is key.
So no intense workouts right before bed.
Not ideal. Try to finish your workout at least a few hours before bedtime.
A relaxing evening walk or some gentle yoga might be better.
Absolutely. And now for the age-old question.
Hit me with it.
Does food affect sleep?
I knew you were going to ask that.
It does. Certain foods can actually help you sleep better.
Okay, tell me everything.
Foods rich in tryptophan are particularly good.
Tryptophan. Isn't that in turkey?
It is. It's an amino acid that helps produce serotonin and melatonin.
Those are the sleep hormones.
So a Thanksgiving feast might actually be the ultimate sleep inducer.
Maybe not the whole feast, but I get the idea.
Other good sources of tryptophan include nuts and seeds,
Like almonds, pumpkin seeds.
dairy products like milk and yogurt,
Warm milk before bed, a classic for a reason.
and complex carbs like whole grains can also promote sleep.
Wow, I'm learning so much about how food affects our bodies.
It's fascinating, right? Speaking of bedtime routines,
Yes, give me all the tips for creating a sleep ritual.
keep it simple and consistent. Choose activities that help you relax and wind down.
So like reading a book, taking a bath,
Exactly. Dimming the lights, listening to calming music.
yoga, stretching.
Anything that signals to your body that it's time for sleep.
And absolutely no screens in the bedroom.
That's a big one. The blue light from screens messes with melatonin production.
And the mental stimulation keeps our minds racing.
You want your bedroom to be a sanctuary for sleep.
Got it. But what if you're lying in bed and you just can't fall asleep?
Don't just toss and turn, get out of bed. Do something relaxing until you feel tired.
So like reading or listening to music.
Exactly. Avoid watching the clock. That just makes things worse.
I'm so guilty of clock watching, it definitely adds to the anxiety,
It's all about creating that sense of calm and relaxation.
both in our environment and in our minds.
Speaking of which, we can't forget about stress.
Stress is a major sleep killer.
When we're stressed, our bodies release hormones that interfere with sleep.
Cortisol, adrenaline, the stress hormones.
Exactly. Incorporating relaxation techniques can be super helpful.
Okay, give me some examples.
Mindfulness meditation, deep breathing exercises, yoga,
All great ways to calm the mind and body.
and improve sleep quality.
I'm feeling more relaxed just thinking about it.
Now, about those naps. Friend or foe?
I love a good nap, but sometimes I feel like they mess up my sleep later.
It depends. Naps can be beneficial, but keep them short. No more than 20-30 minutes.
Strategic napping, not all day snoozing.
Right. And definitely avoid napping too late in the day.
Got it. What about that whole I only need 4 hours of sleep thing?
Yeah, that's a myth we need to bust.
And people seem to function on very little sleep.
But for the vast majority of adults, we need 7 to 8 hours.
Trying to skimp on sleep will backfire eventually.
Decreased productivity, impaired cognitive function, weakened immunity. It's not worth it.
Okay, I'm convinced sleep is crucial.
And you can't really make up for lost sleep.
No matter how hard we try.
Consistency is key.
It's about creating a sustainable sleep routine, not relying on willpower or quick fixes.
Exactly. And here's another interesting connection.
Oh. Tell me more.
Sleep deprivation actually impairs our willpower.
So we're more likely to make bad decisions when we're tired.
It's true. When you're sleep deprived, your prefrontal cortex
The part of the brain responsible for decision making.
isn't working at its best.
So we're more likely to give in to cravings, make impulsive choices.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Wow. Sleep really is the foundation of everything.
It affects every aspect of our well-being.
This has been so eye-opening, I'm feeling inspired to prioritize my sleep.
That's great to hear. Remember, small changes can make a big difference.
And consistency is key.
Absolutely.
Okay, ready to continue our sleep exploration.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we've talked about how crucial sleep is, but how do we make sure we're getting the right kind of sleep?
The quality of sleep matters just as much as the quantity.
Right, it's not just about clocking in hours.
Exactly. And that's where understanding the different stages of sleep comes in.
Oh, sleep stages. Tell me more.
There are 4 main stages.
4. Okay, let's hear them.
We start with stage 1, that light, drowsy phase when we drift in and out.
That's when you sometimes jerk awake suddenly, feeling like you're falling.
Yeah, those hypnic jerks.
Okay, what's next?
Then comes stage 2. Our brainwaves slow down, heart rate and breathing become more regular.
Our body temperature drops too, right?
Exactly, we're transitioning into deeper sleep.
Makes sense. So what happens in those deeper stages?
Stages 3 and 4, that's where the magic happens.
The deep sleep everyone talks about?
It's essential for physical restoration, memory consolidation, even boosting our immune system.
So that's when our bodies are doing all the repair work.
Pretty much. And finally, we have REM sleep,
REM, the dream stage.
characterized by rapid eye movements, vivid dreams, increased brain activity,
I've heard that REM sleep is crucial for learning and memory.
and emotional regulation, too.
So each stage has a unique role to play in our overall health.
Exactly. We need to cycle through all of them throughout the night for a good night's sleep.
So it's about getting a balanced mix of sleep stages, not just hitting a certain number of hours.
Exactly. Are you familiar with sleep trackers?
I've seen them around. Do they actually work?
They can be helpful. They're not perfect, but they can provide some useful insights.
What kind of information do they track?
Sleep duration, time spent in each sleep stage, even things like heart rate and movement during sleep.
So it gives you a more objective look at your sleep habits.
Precisely. And that awareness can help us identify any issues and make changes to improve our sleep.
That's pretty cool.
Huh.
This deep dive into biohacking has been incredibly enlightening.
Glad you found it valuable.
We've covered so much: dopamine detox, nutrition, the gut microbiome, and now the science of sleep.
It's all connected, isn't it?
It really is. I feel empowered to take control of my health using these strategies.
That's the goal. Remember, small changes made consistently can have a huge impact.
Consistency is key. That's been a recurring theme throughout our conversation.
It's not about perfection, it's about progress.
And making gradual, sustainable changes.
Exactly. Biohacking is a journey of self-discovery.
It's about experimenting and finding what works best for you.
Absolutely. Be patient with yourself, listen to your body, and have fun with it.
Great advice. This has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into biohacking.
It was my pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep biohacking your way to an extraordinary life.
Sweet dreams.